third part in our series in terms of the college side of things. Did a presentation about video analysis, how to create your own highlight video. Talked a little bit about the recruiting process in terms of what you should be doing in terms of a timeline going forward. And then obviously this part before Christmas is obviously the college coaches panel. So we're very, very fortunate to have 4 different coaches from 4 different divisions, all from North Carolina. So Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, and the NAIA. So again, I spoke earlier on, I remember in the first college seminar we talked about, in terms of the opportunity, the fantastic opportunities there are throughout all divisions. Not just Division 1, not just Division 2, Division 3, and not just NAIA. All the divisions. And there's some fantastic football being played and some unbelievable opportunities in all those divisions. So again, we have to make sure again that we're educating you in the right way so you guys can make the best and informed decision possible. Okay? So how it's going to work is I have a bunch of questions here, 10 questions, which I'll ask some of the coaches, and some of the answers may be very similar. So again, I'll defer it to the coaches, and they can obviously have a conversation about it and tell you about the recruitment process going forward. And after I finish with the coaches, if I get through all of them, questions, I will then give the floor to you guys as well. And as players, you can ask questions, and as parents, you guys have the opportunity to ask questions as well going forward. Does that make sense? Yeah. So first and foremost, guys, Corey, we'll start with yourself. Can you introduce yourself, what school that you're from, division, etc., going forward?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Corey Speed. I'm the head coach at Guilford College. It's in Greensboro, about 45 minutes down the road from here. We're a Division III school. We play in the ODAC. It's the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. We play mostly Virginia schools. We're the only school from North Carolina in the conference. And big difference between us and the other schools that are present here is there's no athletic aid awarded at Division III schools, but a lot of the packaging can still be fairly competitive. So it's just a bit about our school and a level.
Awesome. Coach Luke?
Luke Stotch from Chowan University. It's a Division II program there. I'm the assistant coach.
Awesome. Brilliant. Coach Anders?
Steven Hernandez from St. Andrews University. It's in Laurinburg, North Carolina, about 2 hours and 5 minutes south of here, heading southeast. We're in the NAIA. We're in the AAC, which is the Appalachian Athletic Conference. Our conference kind of spans from Virginia to Tennessee to North Carolina, South Carolina, and down into Georgia. And I'll talk some more about that in a little bit, the little differences, because we're not as popular as you would see here from the NCAA guys that are sitting here. NAIA is very similar to Division II as far as level and scholarshiping is concerned. And but that's just a little bit about St. Andrews. We'll get to more in a little while.
Coach Ari?
My name is Jaime Ibarra. I'm the assistant coach at UNC Greensboro. A little bit about Greensboro. We play in the SoCon, the Southern Conference. It's a Division I school. Our conference ranges from here in North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, and South Carolina as well. The school is, I'm sure you guys, being from the area, you guys probably driven by it or seen it a little bit, but a pretty big state school here. And I think the student body is like around 16,000, 17,000. But yeah, it's
Awesome. So touching on that, I think you alluded to a little bit. What's unique about your division? What's unique about Division III? Corey, can you answer that one?
We don't, again, there's no athletic aid awarded. The type of merit that you can, or the type of scholarshiping that's available to you is strictly based off of academics, and then need-based money, which can be awarded through FAFSA, and then so federal money, and then also through the school as well. The other main difference, I would say, when kids or parents always ask about what are the big differences between the levels. Division III, we have a little bit less time with guys in the spring, which traditionally opens them up to more of a full, well-rounded college experience. So we'll have players that are able to study abroad in the spring, do internships, have jobs. You're able to get just a bit fuller of an experience outside of your college soccer experience. So soccer's still a big part of it. Our falls are very similar. there's not really any difference between the time commitment in the fall between Division 1, 2, and 3 and NAI. It's really the spring where we have, I would say, about half as much time as they have on the field with the players. Again, which opens them up to different opportunities, the ability to study abroad. I've coached at Division 1, 2, and 3. I don't think I ever had a player study abroad when I was at Division 1 or 2, apart from maybe a senior in his final semester. We've had multiple guys do it at our level. So.
Well, yeah, with Division 2, I think the football or soccer, we call it here, is very compatible to Division 1. You have some really good Division 2 programs in there, so don't overlook that. For example, we played last spring, we played Campbell and we played Elon, we tied Elon, we beat Campbell 4-0. So there is, on that side, it's very compatible with D1. Then, like he said, you have a little bit more time in spring to play. Also, the Division 2 are more smaller schools. So if you look at where in Conference Carolinas, if you look at school based, it's about 1,500 people on the school, so it's small. So academic wise, you're really like focused on your teachers, everybody knows you on campus. It's really, how do you say that? Hands on with the teachers. They care for you as a student.
Stephen?
We're very similar. We're a small liberal arts college in southeast North Carolina. And as I alluded to before, we're one of 2 schools in the state that are NAI, Monterey College being the other one. I think maybe the next closest one might be Columbia International University in Columbia, South Carolina. So the NAI's footprint is much larger in states like Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, as you transition out towards west of here too. So North Carolina doesn't have as many in the state, but extremely competitive. You know, we offer athletics scholarship as well as academic. So we have 12 scholarships for our first team, and we split those up amongst the 24 guys on the first team. It could be from 20 to 24. And we are a small liberal arts college with just under 1,000 students. Okay, we're a residential campus, so we're not a big commuter base. So we're much different than a UNCG. And even that from a similar school that right down the road, they don't have men's soccer anymore, but UNC Pembroke. So other schools like that have commuters. We don't typically have commuters. We're a small residential campus. Again, very similar hands-on. A lot of things that go on, small class sizes. You know, some have, as you get into your senior year, you could have 10 to 12 guys in your class. In your earlier years, in your freshman year, you'll have 40 and 50 guys in your class. But as you dwindle down within your major, within your discipline, you'll see class size get smaller and smaller. And we offer a wide range of majors, pre-professional majors from your pre-professional programs that are out there that you want to, but you also have tons of other majors as well. So it's really what you're looking for. What's the right fit, really? At the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. To his last point, and to the other point about the Division 2 and Division 1, very similar. In Division 1, you'll find in the schools at the very top, it's a very big difference from some of the schools that are considered towards the bottom. We play a lot of Division 2 schools in the spring, and in the past, I've played a lot of Division 2 schools that would compete at a very high level in Division 1. So it's a lot of people think, I would just want to play D1 just because of that title that's there, but it's about the right fit, right? It's about going somewhere where what's important to you as far as academics, the social aspect of the campus, and then the sport as well, right? How do you want to compete? Do you want to play professionally? Do you just kind of want to have fun with your friends? So at UNCG we have 9.9 scholarships. People think that all the Division I schools have scholarships. It ranges, right? Some schools may only have 2. Some have not. The most you can have is 9.9, but not every Division I school has that. Not all of them are fully funded, so slight difference there.
And I'll combine these 2 questions together. What is it you look for in a student athlete, and what do you value as a program and as a college coach? So or combine those together. So we'll start with coach.
So I think it's going to vary from program to program and year to year in terms of what we're looking for maybe on the field. For example, I was just mentioning I think a parent earlier about for my class this year, I have a really good attacking group with my freshman class. We're specifically looking for center backs and maybe a holding midfielder. That varies from year to year. So last year was attacking players. This year we're looking for a different position. So that's part of the fit that you're always looking for is what are the needs what are the needs of the different schools that are interested in me. Basically, we're looking for players that are coachable, that fit within our playing style. So our playing style may be very different than UNCG, it may be very different than Juwan, and all of us may have different things and characteristics that we're looking for. What I want a center back to do may be very different than what they want a center back to do. What I want, we don't play with traditional wide players, we play with wing backs and 3-5-2. So what I'm looking for in a wide player is very different, maybe very different than what somebody else is looking for. So it's always specific to the program, but what I will say is everyone's looking for guys that are coachable, that are easy to work with, guys that are just always like wanting to get better and wanting to improve, and guys what I look for specifically would be like a genuine love for the game, and a guy that is competitive when nobody's watching. So whether it's a small set, whether it's a small pickup game between friends, whether it's a training session, whether it's an ID camp, whether it's a state final that you're playing in, or the final that you're playing with your high school team, or you guys are playing a playoff game with with Independence, whoever it may be, whatever the stakes may be. I want to see guys that are always motivated and always like switched on whenever they play. The guys that don't have an off switch, that they're always competitive.
Yeah, no, very similar. Looking for a player that fits our philosophy, or how we want to call it. But then also we look at the personality of people. We're looking for winners, and not only winners on the field, but in the classroom, doing good in the classroom. Like we said, people that don't give us trouble. And then on the field is important really as well. And I think we've been very successful with that. At Juwan, we won the academic award 5 years in a row as the best GPA for men's program 5 years in a row. But then we've also been in conference finals, in national finals when we were still in the other conference where we were playing the Christian League conference where we were in 4 years ago. So we've been very competitive as well, and in the classroom.
Very similar. I mean, we're looking for a hardworking, passionate individual on the field and off the field. You're dedicated to football. You're dedicated to the academics, because you can't do football without the academics. You can play football all you want, right? But that doesn't mean you're going to go study at the same time. So you have to want to study and want to be there. So we're looking for that desire and that heart and that passion in each and every guy. Obviously, if we're looking at you and we're looking at bringing you in, we see something in you that's going to fit in our system, right? In our philosophy, in the way we want to play. And in a place like St. Andrews that you find in all of North Carolina and South Carolina are schools our size. And, there's a big word there, community speaks volumes. And a small campus like St. Andrews, my wife is the Associate Dean of Students, okay? My son's been raised at St. Andrews since he was, nothing. He's a little guy. He spends many nights or many afternoons out here at ODP with me when we train out here at my side. He's really part of it. And so the word I use a lot of times is family, okay? You all have brothers when you come, and it's what we can do when we get there. So we're looking for guys who will fit into the family, the St. Andrews family, seamlessly. It's an easy transition. Looking for, again, hardworking, passionate guys that are going to look to do the right thing.
For our specific situation right now at UNCG, it's a brand new coaching staff. New head coach just got in August. Myself, I got there in June. The rest of the coaching staff as well, just a few months ago. So just specific to us, we're trying to build a program. All right, we're trying to change the culture of the program from what it was from the previous coach. And nothing wrong with what he was doing, but it's a new staff and we have new ideas and a new philosophy. And for us, we're a team that wants to play. All right, we want to play the game. We want to put the ball and a little different from what a lot of college teams will look to do. But we want players that understand the game, that know it, that have passion for it, and just love the game. Academics, they've mentioned it. If you don't have the grades, well, we can't really help you in that area, right? The grades, you're a student before you're an athlete. And then the last thing is good people, all right? Because if we want to build the right culture, if we want to change a program, you need the right people there, right? You need people that are going to be committed, because no single person that's going to come into this program is going to leave and be bigger than it, right? The program is still going to be there. Once I leave, the program will still be there. Once the head coach leaves, it'll still be there. And once any of you guys come to UNCG in 4 years, once you leave, you'll be a part of something that was bigger than you.
Awesome. Now, going on to the recruiting side, I think some of the questions we got from the parents was one in particular: when can a student athlete know that you're interested in them as a player / student athlete?
As soon as the moment that we contact you, I think that's if we contact a player, it's because there's something there that we like. I think on our end, I think obviously this is one recruiting process that you get to do. We do this obviously every single year. So while there may be when you create your list of schools that you guys are looking at, there may be 5 or 6 schools that you're looking at, right? By that same token, the number of players that we watch every year, we might be recruiting 8 spots. We might be speaking with 100, 150 players at that point. There may be several guys, loads of guys out there that we like, that we speak with. So at that point, it's really kind of like we're interested, and then as it moves forward, typically for us, we move or for most schools, we move forward when there's that mutual interest. So a lot of it is honestly gets driven by the player. At least I feel like most times, because I can't apply to the school for you. I can't. I can't send in your transcripts. I can't send in your test scores. I can't visit the campus. All of that is a lot of times is driven by you. So if a school is interested in you and they think that you could be a big fit in their program, you'll know that. If they're recruiting you softly, with maybe some interest early and haven't heard from them recently, well, that's probably an indicator that maybe you're not quite as high on their board as they are on yours. So, and that's kind of like a feeling out process, just kind of as you go through things. So the schools that really want you, you'll know it.
Okay. Is that any different from anyone else? Similar, exactly the same? Awesome, good stuff.
And I'll add one thing to that.
Yeah,
it's just it's a fluid. Recruiting is a very fluid situation. So, things change all the time. Where all of a sudden we have a player that is interested in our school that we didn't know was going to be interested before, or all of a sudden there's a player that was interested and now he's committed to on a full scholarship at Wake Forest, and all of a sudden now we go to again, it's what we say, there's a big recruiting pool of players possible players that we're looking at. And that's kind of the way that things work.
Awesome. So this is a touchy question, I think, for most, but so you have an interest in a player, player likes the school, you like him, etc. When is a good time for the student athlete or the parent to ask about athletics aid, and is that a good question to ask?
Yeah, I will do it in person.
Okay.
We like to do it.
Not over text then, guys, right?
No,
Right,
not
okay.
over text or
See,
your first email saying one. No, in person is probably best when you physically can or stuff like that. But I think you can be very direct to a coach about it, or we like that at least, so we know both where we stand and if we're in the same, thinking the same way, or we both think different about it, and we know where we stand, and we're not messing about weeks and weeks will go on, and then we say we cannot make it work. So yeah, we're pretty straightforward with that. And if you guys do that, makes it for us easier to know where you guys are staying.
For us, we got to see. We'd like to see, applications come in, transcripts, test scores, campus visits. When we were Division II before we transitioned out, you can come in and train with us. So we'd love for you to train with the team. If you want to call it a tryout, whatever. If we've invited you in, it's not necessarily a tryout. We want to see how well you do with the team. So I want you on campus, meet you, if you've got brothers, sisters, grandparents, parents, whoever else, and see what kind of fit it is. And then once we get beyond that stage, I think now it's a good time. If it's a good fit, now it's time to talk. Let's see if it's a good situation for both parties. If not, if we don't have any of that, then it's really tough to say.
So you'd say definitely that being organised, being a good communicator, getting your transcripts in early, applying to schools are all very proactive things that you should be doing as a student athlete. Would you say that?
100%.
That's how you show your interest in school. We'll show our interest by picking up the phone, calling, texting, emailing. But if we have phone calls and texts throughout the year, and all of a sudden it's March and you still not applied to the school, you still not sent your things in, well then, like again, the process is very player driven at that point, because we move forward with the players that we like and that are most interested in our school or our university.
Excellent. Coach, I'm a fantastic soccer player, but I have a 2.0 GPA. Is that good enough? Can I get into school with that? Would you accept that? Would you not accept that? And why?
I think every one of you we deal with each one recruit individually, right? Not everyone's going to be the same. You're not the same player. You're not the same student. So we look at the big picture. You might have a low GPA but a higher test score, and vice versa, right? You may be involved in a bunch of different activities, whether it could be FCA, student government. There's all kinds of things that go into the admission of an applicant. Again, it's beyond me there at that point, so you've got to prove yourself to the university as far as being admissible. So that's something we deal with our admissions department first. And, everything's taken into account. It's like a full body of work. Okay, so you're just not a footballer. You're just not a student, as Coach said before. You're a student athlete. Okay, and we take that all into account. At least at St. Andrews, that's how we'll look at it. Okay.
I would say the better, same thing, is that the better the player that you are, the more options that it opens up for schools that are going to be interested in you. The better the student that you are, the more schools that you can actually make a reality at that point. If your grades, sure, are there schools that you could get into with a 2.0? Sure, but it's going to be a much more limited pool of schools, and they may not include your first, second, third, and fourth choices. So then at that point, you're going to have to be a little bit realistic with academically. What is the academic profile of the school that I'm looking at? Does that match with my academic history? And then it's also going to will limit could you get into some schools with the 2.0? Sure, but what does that do financially for you as well? Like there's all those different factors too, where certain schools have sliding scales where that may be good enough to get in, but it may mean paying full tuition at a private school, and that may not be a financial reality for you as well. So your grades they will close doors for you just as easily as they can open new doors for you too.
Would you say, would you get more money from the academic side than you would the athletic side? This may pertain to Division 3 or not, but if someone had, say, for example, a 3.5 GPA, or say 4.0 GPA, okay, would they get more money on the academic side than the soccer side at your school, or not? Or would it matter?
They're probably going to vary from school to school. So sometimes that's one of the reasons I feel like to get your transcripts and test scores in, because when you apply, you get that academic aid early. Some schools are not allowed to stack scholarships, so that meaning you can't put you don't get to have like if you get a $20,000 academic award, some schools will not allow you to then put $15,000 of athletic aid on top of that. So sometimes for smart students, for smart players, a lot of times the academic aid ends up being more than the athletic aid that you can get. So, and that is very attractive to coaches because whenever they can let's say if they value you at let's say 25%, but if your academics are good enough to get you where the school is going to cover that instead of doesn't come out of the athletic aid, that's more attractive than the same student or the same player that is going to cost 25% because his grades aren't as good. So your grades are very important, and all these things are taken into context whenever we're recruiting players.
You said the same as everybody else? Yeah?
Yeah, at UNCG, you can get academic aid and you can get athletic aid, so you can stack it. And so applying early is extremely important because you're more likely to get academic aid and you can get more academic aid that way. So before you even get an offer from athletics from the program, the school might already be giving you whatever X $1,000 for school. And so now before you even go in to speak to the coach about what offer you're going to get, you already have 40% of your tuition covered. So that's why it's extremely important to get your transcripts and your scores in and application as early as possible.
I spoke to a head of admissions for a couple of different schools, and how they spoke to me, it was an analogy that there's a pot, a golden pot, and it's got a pot of money, and once that money goes, they can't give out any more. Is that the same for your schools too? Yeah.
That's how our admissions department operates. They set a dollar figure, and they want to go out and get, and it's a crude way to say it, but they want to buy the brightest kids, okay? And that's what they go out and they set out. And St. Andrews wants as many pre-med and pre-vet and pre-law, and they'll go out and try to get typical 4.0s and 3. Whatever. But it'll also then, the earlier you're in, the more opportunity you have, whether it's 2.0 or 4.0. But again, it is the pot of money, and eventually it does run out. Now we're able to, at St. Andrews, operate with ours, and we can hold off ours for a rainy day if we need to. But as far as admission goes, an academic award, they do look at it that way.
Anybody else? Any difference?
Yeah, ours is different. You get like that aid
Regardless.
Yeah. So at our school, Chowan, I think you get the highest academic award if you get a 3.0.
Okay.
So that's
Okay, great. Yeah, good. Last question for me, then I'll open up to the floor. In this day of Twitter, social media, Instagram, etc., the college recruitment has changed drastically, even in the 8 years I was doing it. But what's the best way to communicate with you personally as a coach? And what type of communication do you guys value? So whether it's an Instagram DM, someone sliding a coach the DM, right? Or it's over a phone call. Okay, what do you value in terms of communication, etc.?
If I see a player at a showcase event, it just kind of depends on where I'm at with that player. If I've emailed them, we exchanged a few emails already. Like at that point, we'll speak on the phone, and then at that point, it's for me. I always put it in the hands of the student athlete. I always say, whatever's easiest for you, that works for me. I'm comfortable emailing, texting, calling. It just kind of whatever is the most. So some student athletes, they don't want it. It's more comfortable for them to text than just talk on the phone, and that's okay. Like as long as we have a good rapport in person, I'm comfortable texting, calling, or emailing. At that point. So.
Preferably over the phone, talking for me personally. Yeah. Contact.
I think you establish relationship first, and then we can get to messaging.
No TikTok. I heard that the other day. TikTok.
There's so much, and my younger assistants are much better at that than I am. But I do warn you this though. There's a lot of guys your age in every country. So our popular one is WhatsApp, okay? Because of our international students. So in a room like this with you guys here today, there's many rooms around the world where this is going on right now. So just when we talk about communication and response time, and when you're invited and we want you to make a decision, make sure you know that we're probably one of the few sports in college sports that is global, you know? And there are so many guys beaten down. Well, fired. I probably got 10 emails when I was watching you guys from recruiters from all over the world. But just know that. So when we're interested in you and your stateside, we want you. Let's do it and try to figure that out. But for us, WhatsApp is a huge message board that we use that we communicate with our guys, whether in the States or whatever country that all my boys might be from. So text and when we get there. So we'll establish it first, and then we'll probably utilize messaging after that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's more of the content of the message, right? If you send me a message on Twitter, it's like, hey coach, I want to play at UNCG, and that's all you tell me. We get like they've said, we get a ton of emails a day, phone calls and things like that. So a lot of it is the content, right? What are you sending us? Are you sending us highlight videos? Are you sending us your transcripts? And are you sending us references or whatever it is? Because there is a lot that goes through it. And so if for me, if it's an email, if it's a phone call, if it's a text or a message on Twitter, it's a lot to do with the content. And are you a recruitable player, right? Are you I think it's now June 15th, right? The junior year. So
Sophomore year, same time, right? Sophomore year.
Oh, it's junior year. Yeah, June 15th.
After your sophomore year.
After your sophomore year. Yeah, after your sophomore year. So also that also plays in the picture. If you're still a freshman and you're sending a message, well, we can't make contact. But more to do with the content than the platform, really.
Awesome. Some great information, by the way. Some brilliant information. So I'll open the floor. If anybody has any questions, please raise your hand and ask a question. Yes.
Chris, so staying on the social media side, I'd love to hear the coach's perspective on how social media can positively or negatively affect or recruit.
Oh, please talk about that.
Well, for me, I mean, the first thing I do when I'm interested in a player is you Google them, and usually the first thing that will come up is their Twitter, right? And that's the first thing I'll click on, and the first thing that I'll see. And if I look through it and it's you know, a picture of the first tweet is a picture of him, you know, flipping the camera off or something vulgar or anything like that, then I might think, well, this player might not be the right, the right person for the culture we want to build. Right now, if he looks like just somebody that uses social media just to be social and to interact with their friends or post about soccer, whatever it is, then you know it's already a good first impression. So.
And the coaches are fantastic detectives, by the way. They will make brilliant detectives because they go deep. They don't go for first page. They go deep. Believe me. Do you have anything else?
No, it's about the same. That's the only time I go fishing. So, you know, you throw some names in there, you put the school in there, you put your club team in there, and you keep doing it till you find something. And yeah, if there's positive stuff that actually that'll help. The positive stuff's great, but it's the negative stuff that is far more impactful. And something negative on social media will destroy you. And you know, we're swiping and we're going in a different direction.
Yeah, I would just say just understand that like what you put out there is public, and a lot of times I don't really make it a point to even look for that stuff, but you put it out there, it has a way of finding, even if I'm not looking for it, it has a way of finding it to me. So it's just it'll make sure you understand that like what you're doing, like and you guys have to deal with a world that like we didn't have to deal with whenever we were in college or you know in high school, where when you put something out there, it stays there. So you guys have to think twice about what you're doing and just try to exercise good judgment. And that's sometimes a challenging thing to do at your age, but you know, it makes you grow up a little faster. So that'd be my suggestion, is just understanding that what you do now is public. So.
Coach Hernandez started or touched on this. Can you talk to the guys about what the competition is? A lot of these kids grew up and they think the competition is just the people in this room, and with soccer being an international sport and there not being as many scholarships, which we know international students end up getting large sums of scholarship money. Who is their competition and how can they prepare for that competition?
Woo.
Good question.
We were getting on one of our guys. He's a freshman, and he's 20 years old. Okay, so he took a year off, right, and then came to St. Andrews, and we're still not happy with it. It's just something you guys have to be aware of, and there's so many recruiting agencies out there that I have great relationships. I'm sure these guys have the same thing, that are looking to send players our way. But we always start, well, at least I do, we always start here at home first. And we're going to see if we're going to get more homegrown guys to come to St. Andrews. And we have a ton of international guys on our team, but it's not for a lack of recruiting here in North Carolina and predominantly the East Coast. But there's so many kids out there that want to take your spot or want to be part of programs that they're willing, right, to make the sacrifice to leave home, to leave their country, and travel our way. The more you can play, don't just play within your club. There's football outside if they give you any time to play outside that. Always continue to train. There is time. There's good time to take a little break and take some time off. But you've always got to be on the ball. You guys got to keep working, whether it's weight room, whether it's speed and agility, your fitness. Because from what I saw tonight, there's some guys out there that are doing it, the speed of play. The thing about college soccer, when you get to that next level, for me, it becomes much more than smash and grab in a physical game. Okay? We use substitutions, whereas international soccer, you have those 3 subs. We can use more subs than that. We can run guys in. We can change the tempos of games, okay? We can send certain kids in to do different things throughout the first half, re-entry in the second half. It is an extremely physical game that you have to prepare yourself for. Some of you were doing it tonight. Some of you backed off in the second half. I saw a much higher rate of tempo and speed of play in that first half, but it's something where you need to be able to sustain that through a game. So I hope that answers it or goes in that direction.
Anything you want to add to that?
Can I follow up on that?
Sure.
So what percentage of your programs are international students versus domestic on your team?
Sure. So and that'll vary a lot from program to program. For example, Division III, there are some Division III schools that have loads of international players. We are not one of them. We are mostly domestic based. I have a couple guys that are from other countries, but they've been here for high school. But all of my players have been domestic based for at least their high school careers. We don't typically get international players, and that's more of a feature of the school than anything else. If we could, we would, because there's loads of guys out there that there's loads of guys of players out there that are good players that, again, this is, I think, to kind of piggyback off of and follow up his question as well. It's like, the world is big, and the amount of good players there are, even locally and in the state and then in the region and then in the country, is huge. So I think a lot of guys, even in Division III, are always surprised by the level and surprised by how good some of the players actually are. So what you'll find is that there are good players at every level. Specifically for us, I would say the biggest difference is we have players at Division. There are plenty of players at Division III that are good enough to play Division III, Division I. The main difference is that we don't have. There's no scholarship money on the field. So again, they have I know saying they have 9.9 scholarships. Well, I would liken it. I would say a good Division III side would be similar to if UNCG were not allowed to play with their scholarship money, with their scholarship players on the field. And the same thing for Chowan. If Chowan had to not put their scholarship players on the field, that's about what you're looking at for a Division III program. So there's good players at every level, and it really just kind of varies. So again, the competition level is high, even it from NAI Division III to Division II, Division I.
Yeah, we're almost 50-50, to say. Main reason why we go, for example, to places like England, Ireland, Holland, Sweden, is because the soccer platform is a little bit different in Europe than it's here. I think Chris is starting something really good here right now, getting young players in his U23 team, in the PDL team. What happens there is you're going to play against older guys, experienced guys. I play for myself in the USL. I'm 31. Used to play back in Holland a little bit. So they're getting experience playing with older players that have been in the game, that might have played professional, that get experience more closely to the college level where you play older guys, more smarter guys. It's not as, if you look at the U17 game sometimes, it's really good, like everybody's going and stuff like that, but tactical wise and stuff like that, it's different. So I think we do a great job with that, getting those guys involved, because I think, to come back to your question, how do you get people ready to get them exposed to playing against older guys, more experienced guys, and those guys. So
We're about 60-40 internationals. We're heavier internationals than we are guys from the US.
Right now, we have 26 guys on our roster. I think we have 4 internationals. So it varies a lot by school. Some schools, like they said, are 50-50. Some have a few. At my previous school, we had a roster of 30, only had 3 internationals as well. So it just really depends on the school itself, the coach, the kind of recruiting that he likes to do, and things like that.
Coach, how much of the international of your scholarship goes to international?
Well, at the previous school I was at SMU, which costs $70,000 a year. Very few internationals that could probably afford that with no financial aid or no any of that. So those 3 guys, those guys were on full scholarships. A school like UNCG, that costs less than half of that. You can afford to give less. Because if you get 50%, well, now you're asking them to pay somewhere around 15 a year. So at UNCG, it's a much different situation that they didn't have to be a full scholarship for those guys. Now, if they're good enough, then yes, but it's not like at SMU where it had to be a full ride.
Anybody else want to chime in on that one? Anybody else? Any questions?
What you looking for in a highlight tape? Everything that you're looking for when someone plays in a highlight tape.
It's a good question. Want to see what you're good at. So, and the other thing that I think a lot of players don't necessarily understand. With a good highlight tape, can show me a lot. I can learn a lot about you as a player, and I can also learn a lot about how smart you are by what you pull out and choose to put in there. So, if you're a wide player and all I see is you beating players 1v1, 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 that's great, all right. But what are you doing whenever you're not beating a player 1v1? Right? What are you doing? Are you helping out defensively? Are you can you put in your highlight video and showing game understanding? So you put in your highlight video 1v1 and you isolate it over and over again. Well, what do you do when you're not isolating? So you being able to recognize the game situation, and maybe it's the ball gets out to you on the wing and you're 1 versus 3 and you just set the ball back and it switches play, and now it all of a sudden it leads to a good attack on the other side. So understanding that that's not necessarily something that's going to make a Sports Center top 10 highlight, but that it's a good, you showed me that you understand your like show me a little bit of tactical understanding. Show me that you have some position, like some awareness about numbers on the field. Little things like that. All that stuff is important to pull out. And it varies from position. If you're my team, we like to play. So if you're a center back and it's all you tackling and all you and heading, that's great. But I probably won't recruit you. I need to see you on the ball. Same thing for the goalkeepers. If it's just shot stopping, it's just coming to claim crosses. If it's just you punting the ball or throwing it, all that stuff is great. But I need to see you receive the ball under pressure. I want to see you come claim things. I want to see different things like that. So I would say as much as you can put in there that. Show me your game understanding. Show me like that. You know, you can. If you're a central midfielder, you know, show me what happens. Show me you creating an angle for your teammate that allows a penetrating pass, not just you being the guy that always plays it. So simple things like that, I think, are it's good stuff to put in that sometimes goes overlooked.
Anybody else want to add to that?
Don't send me 90 minutes
Yeah.
of the game.
We'll ask for that.
Yeah.
But then I think also coaches don't put too much value on highlight videos because it never shows the bad stuff. So then it's a good first impression, and then we'll look at you, like you said, we'll look at your full video, and then we can see what you really are about.
What is a good time?
What is what?
What is a good time and amount of time?
For the video itself. Okay, so what should the length of the highlight video be?
Well, my advice is, personally for me, is a highlight video is a highlight video. You're going to put your best moments, right? Put your best moments at the front of the video, right? Because a lot of the times, at least for myself, I don't watch the whole thing, right? If it's, guys will send me 8-minute highlight video. Some will send me a 3-minute one. Some will send me a 2-minute one. I watch the first bit of it. Put your best stuff on there. If I see it, it's like, hey, this guy's actually, it's interesting, right? And then from there, I'll watch maybe the first 2 minutes. And then after that, it kind of gets repetitive because you the guys are showing the same thing, or we're not seeing enough of what's he doing defensively, or what's he doing here. And so then we'll ask you, all right, can you send me a 90-minute video, or send me your schedule if you're a Greensboro kid. Hey, let's go watch this kid play. So my advice is just put your best stuff at the beginning where we will see it right away. Don't save it like, oh, I'm going to save my 35-yard shot for the very end or something like that.
Yeah, that can touch on what Luke said. The highlight video is just a window into who you are as a player. We want the full picture of. We'll come see you live, and then, or if we like the video, we might. If you're from a distance, you guys are all pretty local for us, so we'd go, oh wow, I really like John's video. Like he's training this Thursday. Let's go watch him. Or then if we have a game this weekend, we're definitely gonna go watch him play. And at that point, it's now we get the full picture of watching just you on and off the ball.
I have another question.
No, it's not easy. Go.
So ID camps that are held, are they worthwhile for the kids to go to?
I think so. You want to go?
For us, it is. Since we're like a smaller school, a D2 school, we're not as popular as a UNCG camp. So we don't get 100 kids. We might get 15 or 20. In the last 3 IP camps we got 12 players out that are out of us over the years.
Would you say one of the advantages of being in an NAIA school, Division 2, not sure about Division 3, but maybe you can help me out here, but able to train with them?
Yeah.
Right? That's massive.
Yes.
In Division 1, it's
Yeah, we're not allowed to do that.
You're not allowed to,
That's
so-
specifically a feature of Division 2.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
Division
for-
2 and NAIA,
Yeah.
that's unique. That's very unique. That's one unique thing about their school and that division. The fact that you can go to campus and train with the guys in their environment,
Yeah.
which is huge, right?
Yeah, because we let our guys come to those ID camps, and then we can see where they stand within our team. So it's perfect for us. It's a good recruiting tool for us.
Yeah, and that's very different from Division 1 because we can't ask you guys to say come try out. So the ID camps gives us a good chance that the coaching staff works the camp, and if I see you play and we like what we see, and it's like, well, we're just still not sure yet. Hey, come to the camp. It's a 3-day camp, 2-day camp, 1-day camp. But we get to work 3 sessions with you that day. We get to work one-on-one. Hey, is he a coachable kid? Hey, how does he react in these situations of the game? So I would say it's absolutely worth it. From the previous school to now, I've never worked a camp where we haven't had at least 2 kids that will end up on the roster. So
Yeah, I would say for me they're pretty beneficial. I don't run one myself, but I recruit everyone else's. And I get a lot of players from that. I mean, that's where we get a lot of. For me, it's the reasons I like it. For me, or I get to see a clear passion for a guy that if you're showing up to an ID camp and you're spending your money to go there. Like for me, it's not obvious. Like this kid wants to play college soccer, and I want guys that want college soccer. I think that on the parents and y'all's end, the kids end, you have to understand like. If you're at an IT camp of 100 players, and High Point, for example, not going to take 100 players from their ID camp. So we're looking for the very best player they're looking at the very best player at their ID camp, the very 2 or 3 best players. So if you're not in that level, then I don't want to say you've wasted your time and your effort, but the reality is like. We can't come see every single player that wants to come play for Guilford College or High Point or Elon or UNCG or Chihuahua. So it's impossible. But there are a lot of players that are interested in our school, their school. So that's the reason for having the ID camp is it's not possible for us to go see every player that wants to come here. So we've set a date, say we'll have you guys can come on this date if you're interested. And then that's kind of, because there is a cost, both like financial and time for us to do it. So this kind of shifts it to the player side now, where now you guys are going to have to share in some of that cost if you really want to come play at UNCG or you really want to come play at Chihuahua. Well, there's 1,000 players that might be interested in this. I can't see 1,000 kids. So that's kind of one of the reasons for doing them. And they are beneficial because I think, again, as Jaime said, everyone recruits from them. Not necessarily every player, but every school recruits from their ID camps.
Yeah, we were able to sign 3 kids from North Carolina, 1 from Virginia, through our ID camp. We'll offer 2 or 3 more from North Carolina, 2020s that were there last year with us, and then 2021. Does that sound right? Yeah, that's on the radar that we'll keep inviting back. So, and it's an opportunity for the coaches to interact with the players on their campus. Train them, right? And then we'll bring out some of our players to jump in with our ID camp because ours isn't a massive one. It was 30 to 35 guys. And our second one was around 20 guys. So it was pretty intimate at that point. And you're able to just give them, more watch fly over it.
Are you looking at sophomores at all, or is it just basically juniors and seniors? Like, should we waste our money as sophomore parents?
We put it. I don't think so because, like I said, so we had 2019s and we have a 2021 that benefited from it.
Okay.
At least we'll stay on him because we really want him.
Okay.
And his opinion may change of us and us of him, but it isn't. I don't think it is too early at all to get the way down.
Any other questions? Okay, if there's no questions, we'll wrap it up. If you can please give the guys a round of applause.